Hello and welcome to Frame and Flow. Today we'll dive into modeling in Spline as we create our keyboard. Let's get started. To access the modeling toolbar in Spline, we need a base mesh. We'll create a cube for this purpose. In our first episode, we explained that each object has unique properties. Before diving into modeling, let's discuss the cube's properties. The first setting is the size of the box, which you can adjust here. Next, we have the side parameter, which refers to the number of polygons on each side. Increasing this number divides the polygon, creating more polygons. To demonstrate, let's first turn on wireframe mode and change the background to something lighter. As you increase the size, you'll see additional edges on the cube. You can change this setting for each side separately. Next, we have the corner setting, which controls the radius of the box's corners. You can increase or decrease the corner radius and adjust the number of edges within the corners. For now, let's set the corners to 0 and the corner size to 1, then turn off wireframe mode. To access the modeling section, we need to click Smooth and Edit. Clicking this button will prevent further adjustments to the size and edge number. This is a destructive method, but it gives us more control in the editing section. After clicking Edit, you'll notice the object looks different due to the subdivision level, which smooths the object. Increasing the subdivision level makes the object smoother, while setting it to 0 returns it to its original state. The increased base subdivision is a destructive method that smooths your object and increases the polygon count immediately, which will be important when we discuss the sculpting tool. For now, let's undo this and use the 0-level subdivision base. At the top of the screen, we have the modeling toolbar with options for modifying and moving our object. First, there's the face mode, allowing you to select, move, rotate, or scale a polygon. Then we have the edge mode for selecting and manipulating the object's edges. Lastly, there's the vertex mode for selecting and manipulating vertices. Next is the extrude button. As the name suggests, it extrudes the polygon. When you select a polygon, a big blue circle appears on top of the selection tool, which you can use to extrude the object. You can extrude any face you want. Let's undo this for now. The next tool is the inset tool, which offsets the polygon inside, creating a new polygon. Then we have the loop cut tool, which creates edge loops in your object. You can create as many as you want. The last one is the sliding tool, allowing you to move the loop along the object's polygon. After that, we have the selection tool, which we've already discussed. You can use it in vertex, face, or edge mode. The next icon is the sculpting tool. To demonstrate this, we need a higher density mesh, so we'll increase the base subdivision in the subdivision modifier section. Once the base mesh is increased, we go to the sculpting tool. On the right side, you'll find the sculpt brush settings to adjust the brush's radius and strength. You can also hold Shift and use your scroll wheel to change the brush size. At the top, there are 4 modes: grab, draw, clay draw, and smooth. The grab mode elevates the surface. The draw mode adds to the object. The clay draw mode is similar, but with a flat base. And the smooth button smooths your mesh. Finally, the last icon in our toolbar is a set of settings, which we won't use now, but we'll cover in future lessons if needed. Now that we're familiar with the basics of Spline's modeling tool, let's start creating a keyboard. First, we'll use a cube as a base mesh and create our first button. Click on the cube, and then click on the scene to create it. In the Properties panel, change the corners to 0 and the corner side to 1. Then, we click the Smooth and Edit button and set the subdivision level to 0. Now let's decrease the height of the cube. In Face mode, click on the top polygon and move it down slightly. Then, holding Shift, scale down the top polygon. If we look at the button on the keyboard from the finished project, we can see a curve on the top of the buttons. To create that, click on the Loop Cut tool and create 2 edge loops. In Vertex mode, click the middle vertices and move them down. Move the center vertices a bit more than the others. Now, if we increase the subdivision modifier level, you'll notice the edges are not sharp yet. To create sharper edges, we need edge loops near the top and bottom of the button. First, let's create the edge loops for the top part using the Loop Cut tool. Then use the Edge Slide tool to move the edge loops closer to the top. Now, if you increase the subdivision level, you'll see more defined edges. Let's do the same for the bottom part. Now that our button is ready, let's duplicate it. In Top View, click on the button, hold Ctrl and D to duplicate it, and move the new button to the right. Holding Shift, select both buttons, and then Ctrl D to duplicate them, and move them down. Now we have our 4 buttons. To create the Escape button, duplicate one of the smaller buttons, move it down and to the center, and in Edit mode, move the vertices to make it bigger, matching the size of the 2 buttons. Notice the Escape button has more rounded edges. To fix this, add an edge loop to the left and right of the button. Now that we have all our buttons, let's create the base of the keyboard. In Top View, use the Rectangle tool to create a rectangle. In the Properties panel, convert it to a path. As you can see, the default shape for its profile is a circle, but we want a rectangle, so let's change it. To round the corners, increase the roundness radius and add more subdivision to it. Also, let's add some bevel to the edge of it as well. Now let's go to the top view and adjust the size of the rectangle, ensuring it doesn't intersect with the buttons. Lastly, we'll create a floor for our scene. In Top View, click the rectangle and drag to create a plane. If we go to the front view, we can see the floor is too high and intersects with the keyboard base. So move it down slightly. And that's it. Our keyboard is now ready. In the next lessons, we'll create the materials and add cameras to the object. If you're new to Spline, it's normal to feel a bit overwhelmed by the process. Just keep watching and follow along with everything in the video. The more you practice, the more familiar you'll become, and soon everything will start to make sense. If you enjoyed this, be sure to like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more tutorials and tips.